the 4th of July 2025, Scott Ruskan was a Coast Guard rescue swimmer on his first major operational mission. 3 hours later, 165 people had been loaded into helicopters from a flooded Texas summer camp. But that was only the beginning of the story. 7 months later, Ruskan stood inside the U.S. Capitol during the State of the Union address to receive one of America's highest military honors. And 5 months after that, he stepped onto a national stage to accept the Pat Tillman Award for service. So, what actually happened between those two moments? The disaster unfolded rapidly. On the morning of the 4th of July, severe unyielding rainfall hit central Texas, causing the Guadalupe River to surge past its banks. At Camp Mystic, a long-standing summer retreat nestled along the riverfront, floodwaters quickly surrounded the facility, severing roads and isolating campers and staff. As local emergency channels were stretched to capacity, an MH-65 Dolphin helicopter was dispatched to the scene. On board the aircraft was Scott Ruskan, an aviation survival technician 3rd class. To understand the gravity of the situation, the timeline matters. Ruskan had completed his rescue swimmer training roughly 6 months prior. This was his first ever rescue mission, and within moments of arriving over the camp, the flight crew faced a tactical dilemma. The helicopter could not hover indefinitely, and seating capacity was limited. To maximize the speed of the airlifts, the crew made a critical operational choice. They lowered Ruskan to the ground and left him on scene while the aircraft began making repeated evacuation flights. For roughly 3 hours, Ruskan remained on the ground as floodwater surrounded the camp. He organized panicked survivors, set up a working triage system, and systematically prepared individual after individual for the hoisting harness. Initial news reports widely cited the rescue of 165 children. Official Coast Guard accounts provide the precise operational context. Ruskan carefully counted 165 people, both campers and counselors, whom he personally evaluated and loaded onto the aircraft. By the time the operation concluded, Ruskan had carefully counted 165 people he loaded into helicopters. 7 months after the floodwaters receded, Ruskan was back in the national spotlight. During the 24th of February, 2026 State of the Union address, President Donald Trump presented Ruskan with the Legion of Merit for his actions during the Texas floods. Seated in the gallery was Millie Cat McClymond, one of the young campers Ruskan had helped evacuate 7 months earlier. Before a joint session of Congress, the nation recognized the young rescue swimmer's composure under pressure. His story continued to resonate across the country throughout 2026. Early in the year, he served as Grand Marshal for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Parade. And on the 15th of July 2026, Ruskan received the Pat Tillman Award for service at the annual ESPY Awards in Los Angeles. In just 1 year, a rescue swimmer who had been largely unknown outside the Coast Guard had become a nationally recognized figure. Scott Ruskan's story endured not simply because of a single high-profile news cycle, but because it highlights a fundamental truth about emergency response. Large-scale operations ultimately depend on teamwork and individual discipline. When accepting the Pat Tillman Award, Ruskan was quick to deflect the praise crediting the campers, counselors, pilots, Army, Air National Guard, rescue task forces, and ground responders who worked alongside him. A year later, the rescue swimmer who became the face of that operation was standing on another national stage, accepting the Pat Tillman Award for service. But even there, Ruskan pointed back to the people who helped make the rescue possible: the campers, counselors, pilots, military crews, and other responders. Because sometimes the headline tells you what happened. The story tells you why it mattered. True Probility, the story behind the headline.